The Valorian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 700 years. Their ships were legends, massive dreadnoughts that could crack planets their warriors genetically perfected over millennia. They had conquered 43 star systems, absorbed 21 species, and never once retreated from battle. Fear was a concept they studied in their defeated enemies but never experienced themselves, until the day Captain Sarah Chen walked onto their flagship. Commander Thexal stood 8 feet tall, his forearms crossed over his armored chest as he watched the human approach. She was small, barely reaching his mid-torso, her skin soft and vulnerable, lacking even basic dermal plating. Yet she had demanded this meeting after her pathetic planet had been given the ultimatum: surrender or face annihilation. "You come to beg for your world," Thexal said, his voice a deep rumble that vibrated through the deck plates. Around them, Valorian officers watched with amusement. Humanity's first contact with the galaxy would be their last. It was almost sad. Sarah stopped 10 paces away, her hands clasped behind her back. "No," she said calmly. "I've come to give you a choice." Laughter rippled through the bridge. Thexal's mandibles clicked in what passed for a Valorian smile. "A choice? You have 60 primitive ships against our 1,000. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your world has no defenses we cannot overcome. What choice could you possibly offer?" "Leave," Sarah said. "Leave our system, leave humanity alone, and never return. Do this and we'll let you live." The laughter died. Thexal leaned forward, his obsidian eyes narrowing. "Let us live?" The words came out as a growl. "Do you understand who we are? We have ended civilizations older than your species. You've never met us before," Sarah interrupted. Her voice remained level, almost conversational. "That's your first mistake. Your second was assuming we're prey." Thexal's tactical officer spoke up, his translator device crackling. "Commander, the human fleet is moving." "They're not retreating. They're advancing." "Of course they are," Thexal said dismissively. "They'll die with honor at least. Target their command ships." "Sir," the tactical officer's voice had changed. "They're not targeting us." Sarah smiled then, and it was not a pleasant expression. "You see, Commander, you've studied humanity. You know we're young, barely spacefaring. What you didn't know is why we're so young, why we only reached for the stars now." On the main display, the human ships had indeed changed course. They were heading for Valorian Colony Outpost 7, a mining installation with 5,000 workers. "We didn't leave Earth because we mastered peace," Sarah continued. "We left because we got too good at war. We've been fighting each other for our entire history, not for territory or resources, but for ideas, for concepts. We've burned our own cities to ash, split atoms to end conflicts, and created weapons that could sterilize our entire planet." "Barbaric," Thexal spat. "We evolved beyond such—" "You evolved past survival," Sarah said. "We weaponized it. Every human child learns about mutually assured destruction before they learn algebra. We grew up knowing that at any moment someone could end everything, and we did it anyway. We kept pushing, kept building, kept surviving." The tactical officer's voice rose in pitch. "Commander, their ships are armed with— I don't understand these readings. Nuclear devices? Crude chemical explosives? These are primitive weapons that can't—" "They're not meant for your shield," Sarah said quietly. "They're meant for your colonies. Your mining stations, your supply lines. See, you have an empire. Supply chains, infrastructure, millions of civilians spread across dozens of worlds." She paused. "We have 60 ships full of people who volunteered to die, and every single one of those ships is carrying enough firepower to kill millions." Thexal's blood ran cold. It was a sensation he had never experienced before. This creeping dread that started at the base of his spine and spread through his limbs. "You're talking about terror," he whispered. "I'm talking about total war," Sarah corrected. "You can destroy Earth. Congratulations, you'll kill 8 billion humans. And our 60 ships will kill 50 million Valorians. Then the rest of humanity, the colonies you don't know about, the ships you haven't detected, the people who were off-world, they'll spend the next century hunting down every Valorian in the galaxy. Not for conquest, for revenge." She stepped closer, and Thexal found himself taking a step back. "We don't fight wars to win territory, Commander. We fight wars to make the other side wish they'd never started. We'll lose, absolutely, but you'll remember us. Every Valorian child will grow up hearing horror stories about the species that couldn't be conquered, only killed. The species that didn't surrender, didn't negotiate, just hurt you until you regretted ever finding us. The bridge was silent except for the hum of machinery. You have 60 seconds to give the order to retreat, Sarah said, checking her wrist device. After that, my ships will begin their attack runs. They won't stop. Can't stop. Each captain has their orders. Even if you kill me, even if you glass Earth, they'll keep going. They'll hit your colonies, your stations, your mining operations. Then they'll disappear into the black, and in a year or 5 or 10, they'll hit you again. And again. And again. Thexal looked at his tactical officer, who was frantically scanning the human fleet. They're all on attack vectors, the officer confirmed. Aimed at civilian targets across 3 systems. For 700 years, the Valorian Empire had been the terror of the galaxy. They had made entire species kneel with a single threat. Now, facing a human who spoke of extinction with the same tone one might use to discuss the weather, Thexal understood what all those conquered species had felt. He understood fear. Helm, Thexal said, his voice barely audible. Full retreat. All ships. Maximum speed. Sarah nodded once. Smart choice, Commander. We'll send a message to our ships. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Commander? Tell the other empires about us. Tell them Earth is off limits. Tell them what happens when you corner a predator that never learned it was supposed to be prey. 3 hours later, the Valorian fleet had vanished into hyperspace. Earth's defense force returned home, their weapons unfired, their mission accomplished. Humanity had won its first interstellar war without firing a single shot. The galaxy would never forget it.